And that's it, we got dropped off. And all you got is 21 days to arrive at your extraction. So you get dropped off in your location, you get given a map, and you've got to start hiking for about 5 miles to get to an area where you want to stay. Now when it comes to survival, where do you think you want to stay? What are you looking for? Say again. Yeah, exactly that. You want to look for decent places, especially with near a food source, near water source, because I want to be able to hydrate all the time. So that's what you're thinking about. So you get your map, you navigate to an area, and you're looking for areas where I can collect some water and hopefully get some food. And that's you in that area. And what we got given was a few essential items. We had a knife, we had a pot, we had a fire starter, and they're the basic items you get to survive. And like I said, you're completely naked, you've got no shoes, and you've got nothing. All you've got is your wits. And when it comes to survival, you need to start thinking about protecting yourself. Now in this environment, I told you before, we had jaguars in the area, we had pumas. On one of my nights, I was there in my shelter, and a head was leaning in my shelter, and all I could hear was this. I'm lying there in my shelter thinking, what is that? And I was getting closer. Do you know what it was? It was a puma pushing its head in the side of my shelter. Now when it comes to survival, you need to put aids out to protect yourself. What do you think scares the animals away in a survival situation? Yes, growling back, screaming, come on! So that's exactly what I did when I was in the jungle. The puma was trying to get into my shelter and I started screaming. What else I did? I jumped outside my shelter and I built up a massive fire, because animals do not want to go near any fire source, it scares them. So that's what I was doing to protect myself. I was making items, I was making tools, I was making spears. And every day I was hunting out there. Now how many days do you think you can survive without food? You normally roughly, you work on 3 to 4 weeks when it comes to survival. So that's what you're working on. Now what do you think I was eating out there in Colombia? Rats, insects, fish, iguana. That's what I was eating on a daily basis. I was hunting, I was eating scorpions, I was eating spiders, I was eating tarantulas, I was eating grasshoppers, and we were constantly trying to hunt. I made so many primitive weapons to try and catch animals. Do you think it's easy to catch an animal? It's absolutely hard, and you need to always think outside the box. These animals are always one step ahead of you. This is their environment, so you need to learn how to overcome this. And this is what I was doing daily. And every day you need to prepare yourself for all conditions. As you can see on these pictures, I had to start making shoes. Because when we were in the Colombian jungle, when you watch the TV show, the floor looks nice and flat, nice and cozy, but it wasn't. It was volcanic rock, so my feet were getting shredded. So like I said, when you're in a survival situation, you need to constantly prepare yourself for all conditions. I had to make shoes, I had to make some sort of clothing, stop the bushes and spikes going in me. The shoes I made were out of vines. What I used to do every day is to collect all the vines off the trees, all the vines, and I'd soak them into water to make them more flexible, and that's what I was doing every day. And when they were flexible after the 2 days in the water, I'd get them out and I'd make all my shoes with it. I'd make all clothes just to protect my feet and be able to walk on the ground. And the biggest thing I had to deal with when I was on this challenge was I had to fight through adversity. Now, if you look at some of these pictures here, I was bitten from head to toe. I had bites upon bites, my body was absolutely killing me, and I had to smile every day. Now, like I said at the very start, we dropped off in a remote location in Perth. My partner, Sunny, sometimes she'd struggle, so I had to be mentally strong for her and motivate her and rally her up. And I was going through the mill. I had bites upon bites upon bites, and I just kept smiling. I didn't want to get it into my head, right, I've got to quit. So when you're going through hardship, some of you might miss home a bit now. Some of you might be doing some hard exercises while you're out with the scouts, and you will start going through a bit of adversity. But when you start growing, and going through it, you will grow as a person, and that's what it's all about. And that's what I was doing. I was pushing myself through adversity on a daily basis, not getting enough food, freezing at night, raining every night, and I always had to push myself. And just keep carrying on. And look at that, look at the bites on me there. You couldn't even see me skin. I had bites upon bites upon bites, and it was absolutely terrible. And no matter how hard it gets, you've got to keep going on. As you can see there, even zoomed in, I look like I had scales. How many people do you think could suffer that hardship? It's quite tough, isn't it? He's been bit by a few bugs on this campsite so far. It's not nice, is it? Now imagine being fully exposed in a jungle environment and insects are constantly on you, biting, biting and biting. And I went through the mill on this. I had a psychological effect. I knew I had to overcome this. When it comes to survival, what you've got to remember is your body has got a lot more in it than your mind thinks. Your mind is constantly in a survival mode because it wants to protect you. It doesn't want you to be hurt. It wants to protect you all the times. As soon as you can overcome that, your body's got 60–70% more in it. And like I said, I was getting eaten alive, I was struggling, and I still had to fight through the mill and keep going. And your fear naturally gives you survival instincts. All your senses are heightened, you can hear more, you can see more. And like I said, I was there in the middle of the jungle. Animals coming to my shelter at night, crocodiles near the water, but you're so alert when you're in a survival situation. You can hear everything, you can smell everything, you can see any little movements, anything different, anything moving in the environment because you're so in tune. That's what fear gives you. And it's a crazy, crazy experience. Right, now here's a little video clip of something what I made in the jungle. So when we start doing a bit of survival training in a minute with Jamie, who's been on Discovery Channel's Making Afraid in a minute, he's going to show you a bit of fire and some survival skills and so on and so forth. But here's one of the items I made to make my life a lot easier while I was in a jungle environment. Got fresh water from the rain for the first time, so I was using my gear catching to do this for the last 10 days because of the rainwater and keep it struggle. So we're not wasting all the time collecting water, boiling water, waiting for it to cool down. He's going to cut our time in half.
Dude, that's amazing. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen. You're brilliant. Oh man, I'm so pumped for that.
Steve's got a rain catcher. Yes, Steve's got a rain catcher. Well, let's start talking about the priorities in survival. You only have 4 priorities: protection, location, water, food. First priority in a survival situation is to build a shelter, get your body out the elements. The second priority is to put location aids out if you want to be recovered. Third priority is water. Now, you can last 3 days without water, you can last up to 3 weeks without food. In a survival situation where I was, there was a swamp. We spoke about it before. What do you think was in the water when I was trying to get my own water? We spoke about it before, we had crocodiles, we had caiman, we had piranhas, we had stingray, electric eels in that water, and I'm competing against that. But what do you think all them animals are doing in that water? They're living, aren't they? They're pooing and weeing. So I've got to drink that water. And when you're trying to get fresh water in a survival situation, what you want to do is bubble it.